whatever you wind up doing is exactly what you should be doing.
And I have not behaved one single day of my life. Not one day of my life have I behaved, and I am fine.
I need your help. I can't tell you what it is. You can never ask me about it later, and we're gonna hurt some people.
Whose car are we gonna take?
Good afternoon. Happy Dia de los Muertos to everyone out there. It is the day after Halloween. I think I might have partied a little too hard yesterday. How was your Halloween? Everybody in the chat room, live chat. I love seeing you guys get into the room even before the show starts. I really, really do appreciate it. We do have a big show coming up. But first, as always, I want to start the show by saying thank you to our exclusive founding sponsor, Steve Moskowitz. Steve Moskowitz is your tax expert. You don't have to be rich and famous to have a guy on your side. If you have any sort of tax problem, all you have to do is give him a call. 888 Tax Deal. You can find him online at moskowitzllp.com. Right now, also, we do our little habit of the day. If there's only one exercise that you do today, let it be the finger exercise. Let it be using that little finger of yours and just clicking that thumbs up right there at the bottom of this video. Give us a one click. Don't do it more than once. Takes it away. Click the thumbs up. It really helps us out. YouTube loves those little thumbs up on each and every show. I do want to put my website out there for everyone. I know that sometimes you feel like there's a lot of clicks that you need to do, and it's really simple. If you want all of the ways to help the show, just go to my website, thenikkimedoroshow.com. And when you go to that website, you will have links to everything. You'll have links to our past YouTube shows. You will also have links to our Patreon. And the Patreon has been just overwhelming in the amount of support so far. We're only in our third week of launching this show since we left Station X. And I've been just overwhelmed by the love, the emails, and everything because it costs money. This is my only job. I'm learning, I'm building the plane while it's in the air. And so it takes money. And so if you can donate, we really do appreciate it. You can find a link to our Patreon again at thenikkimedoroshow.com. And you can donate any amount you're comfortable with. You can up it. You listen to the show, watch the show for a month, and you realize, you know what? I just can't start my day without listening to some Nikki Medoro. And the great part with it being on YouTube is that you can always go back and listen to it at any time. I also want to let you know that this is also a podcast. There's links also in the About section on this YouTube channel, in the About of what today's show is about. There's links to our Patreon and our Spreaker, which is where our podcast comes from. It goes out to a number of podcast apps. You can listen to us on Spotify. I know a lot of you have Spotify. You can look up the Nikki Medoro Show there and listen to me at the gym. You're just benching weights, getting sexy. You can listen to my show. I'll be there for you. So all the information, again, just go to thenikkimedoroshow.com. We don't have the phone lines happening yet. It's quite an engineering feat. It seems simple enough, but it's not. But I do want to hear your voices. I think it was the second week. We had our old friend Brian Pelletier. He left me a voice memo and he was asking questions and it was great to hear voices. So if there is a topic, if there is a comment that you want to send me, you can email me. There's the email right on the screen, thenikkimedoroshow@gmail.com. And I'll play your comment on there. We also have the super chat feature up in the live chat. And thank you to people that, buy a super sticker, get a super chat. We will shout out every single person that does that during every single show. And we really appreciate it. It's just another way to support the show. But the big way that this show is being supported is, of course, through our founding sponsor, Steve Moskowitz, who joins us now. And Steve, I know I say this every time we meet, But the help you've given the show and the help you give to our viewers and our listeners with tax problems, it's invaluable. And we really appreciate it because you can handle any sort of tax problem.
That's right, Nikki. We handle all types of tax problems. People that can't pay their taxes, haven't filed their taxes, being audited. Tax questions. A lot of times people say, well, I'm thinking about doing a transaction. And I say, well, okay, if you do it this way, you're going to pay a lot of taxes. If you do it that way, you're not. Called tax opinions. And we do everything in taxes. And one of the things, of course, we talk about a lot is the ERC, but there's still even another service with an ERC. So we've talked about, well, look, if you qualify, you can get up to $26,000 for every employee that you have that qualifies. And that, 10 qualified employees, they'd be up to over $250,000, 20 up to over $500,000, and so on. And I've told you about there's two ways to qualify. There's the easy way, which is a certain drop in gross revenue. But a lot of people stop there because the other way is complex. You have to work on it, think about it. Do I qualify? And they just don't bother. They're turning away other people's money because they can't be bothered. We'll take the time with you. And if you don't qualify afterwards, that's okay. We'll tell you, and we'll tell you why. But if you do, let's get that money. I've warned you about keeping away from the scammers that are committing tax frauds. Obviously, you never want to commit a fraud, clearly. But there's another service we offer with ERC. Here's something else that comes up. Business person says, oh my God, their creditors are cutting them off because they haven't paid. And then the business person says to the creditor, but if you don't give me the products, I can't sell them. I'll never be able to pay. And the creditor says, well, you're not paying your bill. I won't supply it. We can actually contact the creditor and say, look, my guy's not a bad guy. He just didn't have the money to pay you. But the client's given us permission to release the ERC to you. Here's the amount of money we're applying for him. This is coming from the United States government. This is not from some creditor that maybe will pay you and maybe won't. This is coming from the United States government. And look at all the money they're getting. Continue to supply them so they can stay in business. And when the client gets the money from the government, they'll pay in full. Everybody wins. That's just another way that we can help you with ERC. And a lot of people don't even think about that. We live with your business. It's people. It's not just numbers on a piece of paper. It's people's lives and their families and their kids.
It is amazing what you can do for people. And honestly, Steve, it is life-changing. So give Steve a call. He has the answers. Don't try to search it yourself. Don't go to one of these fly-by-night places. Steve's been around for 30 years, more than 30 years. So give him a call, 888-TAX-DEAL, or you just find him online. Simple. MoskowitzLLP.com. Steve, always appreciate it. We'll talk soon.
Thanks, Nikki.
Bye. Yeah. So give Steve a call, of course, at 888-TAX-DEAL or MoskowitzLLP.com. Already have to give some shout outs this afternoon. Eric Kennedy already starting the show with a super sticker for $4. Thank you so much, Eric. And then Jim Slayton with another super. I like the super stickers. Yeah, I'm liking it for $4.99. I really appreciate it. It's a fun way to interact. I am also loving going back and reading the chats after the show because the live chats go up as you rewatch the show. So it's not all there at the end. You have to watch the show, then it all comes up. You guys, you're creating quite the relationship with each other in there. And so I'm just loving it. I know it's a completely different way of you guys to interact. I did get this one comment, and I wanted to see if I could find it. And they were asking about yesterday. Yeah, here it is. Jose Ramirez. So, did your son win the costume contest? Now, for those of you that may have missed the show yesterday, my son wanted to be kind of a unique thing. He wanted to be Butter for Halloween. And so we had to make the costume. Here it is. Oh, where'd it go? There you go. There's my son dressed up in his Butter costume. So, it was very difficult let's bring Kim on in. Hey, good morning, Kim.
Butter, look at him.
There's Butter. So after the show, I answer my phone. It's my son. I'm like, hey, I'm about to leave to come get you. I'll meet you at grandma's house. And I was like, how'd it go? He's like, Mom, you have to bring the glue. My costume's coming apart.
Oh, no.
Uh-oh. Oh, no. Because everyone just kept. Now, it looks like it's full. It's just pieces of foam. It's besides his body. There's a lot of room in there. Mm-hmm. So as people put their arm around him and touched it, it kind of kept folding in and out. I go, okay. Well, how'd it go otherwise? He's like, well, I won.
Yeah,
So yes, I
that's
am
right.
2 for 2. Well, my husband and I, we're 2 for 2 with the Halloween costume, homemade, and him winning the school contest. This was the other one we had done for him a few years ago, where he was an entire haunted house. So yeah, he
Love it.
won. He was very, very happy. We were happy.
So
I
what do you
went.
get if you win? Is it
I
just
have no. I
bragging
don't.
rights,
Yeah,
or
I
is there
think it's
like an
bragging rights.
actual cash prize?
No,
What?
I don't think. I mean, if he got cash, he didn't share it with me. I think it's just. Yeah, it's just. I don't know. Maybe he did get something. I mean, it's been insane because once I reunited with my son, I gave him a big hug. Then it was trick or treating time, and it was nuts yesterday. We went through at least 1,000 pieces of candy. At
Wow.
least 1,000 pieces of candy.
Yeah.
Was it busy in your neighborhood? Does it get crazy?
So it's busy in Petaluma. We have D Street, which is this
Okay.
it's kind of all the old beautiful houses down there, and it is a party. I mean, the streets are packed. Everybody is down there. So yeah, it's pretty busy. My neighborhood not so much, but just a few blocks down, it's wild.
That is awesome. Yeah, we became that. We've been that block. Last year it kind of started, and I blame one of our neighbors because he has that house that's right on the end of the street, but near a busy street, so all the traffic sees his house, and it's
Sure.
just done up, and it's inviting, right? Oh my God, we have to go that block. I mean, the traffic. I tried to take a picture of it, but it was nighttime, and it didn't come out. Traffic jams. I lost my parking spot. Like I had to
Oh
block
no.
my driveway in. So many great costumes. We'll get to London Breed, the San Francisco mayor's Halloween costume that was being criticized. I thought it looked amazing, but it also looked like somebody else, another character from
Uh-oh.
history. And so she's been getting some criticism for it. I'm not quite sure it's fair, but we'll get to that. I do want to give a quick shout out to Joe Fong with a $19.99 super chat. Thank you, Joe. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And we will read those when those come in throughout the show because we appreciate every single way you guys are able to support the show. Okay, so I know, Kim, you've been following the news. We've all been following. It's a national story. The attack on House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's husband,
Yeah.
Paul Pelosi. There's been a number of conspiracies, falsehoods, and and then it's also been played out of course. It has nothing to do with Republicans against Democrats. It has to do with the fact that this is San Francisco. And San Francisco is just this crime-ridden drug den, right? Open air drug market. And that's why it happens. But what does this attack really say about US politics? Well, joining us now is Joe Eskenazi, the managing editor and columnist at Mission Local. Joe, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Well, thank you for having me. I hope all the audio is good.
You look great. I love the headphones. I mean, it really makes you. I think it looks great. So tell me, first off, your reaction to the Pelosi attack when you first heard of it. What was the first thing of why it happened?
Well, I think like most people, I was waiting to see what the story was with the attacker as soon as it was clear that he was alive and there. And, I was waiting to see what the media spin was going to be. And, I was anticipating it would either be some manner of political extremist or a drugged out, mentally ill, possibly transient person.
Mhm.
But both of these things can be true.
Right. Now, exactly. Now, obviously, once it happened. So first off, when I heard that, just from my take, I hear Paul Pelosi is attacked in his house. I go, obviously, someone's after the House Speaker. I mean, it just seems, it's not like they went to that house on accident. Like, oh my God, I meant to break into a house and it just so happened to be the House Speaker's San Francisco home. So I knew that. But then I agree with you, Joe. I mean, obviously, if you're willing to take the risk, and the guy's now facing both San Francisco DA charges, federal charges, to put that your freedom at risk, you kind of have to have something mentally wrong with you. But then it's been interesting to watch the spin, Joe, because it seems, at least depending on what kind of leaning news organization you listen to, it either has to do solely with January 6th or it has to do nothing with, the political discourse. This is just San Francisco. What do you think about, people just painting this as a San Francisco crime story?
I would say they're disingenuous liars. I
love
think
it.
that at some point you cannot use the role of a disinterested down the middle media to enable disingenuous liars. This didn't happen because San Francisco has a drug problem or because of the policies of the long out of office now district attorney. It happened because a pliable person who has left a very clear, not the right term, but paper trail of his ideologies, acted upon the ideologies that he said were the things that people should do. The fact that he has a strange background as a former nudist activist and used to make hemp jewelry and be involved with a troupe of, urban nudists in San Francisco is true. But, it seems that was 8 or 9 years ago, and it's been quite a long, strange trip. And, this man, in my view, has kind of blown around like Forrest Gump's feather. And in the United States, the wind is blown into a very bad and scary place. And people like this are along for the ride. So, I think the best headline I saw was that the conspiracy theories about the Pelosi attacker have been debunked by the Pelosi attacker. He has a Mirandized statement that he made to the police. It is likely done on body camera. He said he explained exactly what he wanted to do. He had zip ties and he had a hammer and he wanted to take Nancy Pelosi hostage and he wanted her to, quote, tell the truth. And if she didn't, quote, tell the truth, which is what he was anticipating, he would break her knees with a hammer. And then the sight of an octogenarian woman being wheeled into the Capitol would serve as a warning to the rest of Congress. That is what he said in his own words.
And what's interesting, and while you were kind of laying out what he admitted to and his motive for being there are still going to be those that are going to say, nope, that had nothing to do with it. It reminds me of January 6th. It reminds me of the January 6th hearing where evidence after evidence is laid out, and we will still have people saying, no, it was Antifa. No, they were just acting like Trump supporters, but it wasn't really Trump supporters. As someone who follows politics and where we are right now, Joe, I mean, how do you counter that? Is it simply facts, and if they don't want to accept them, tough luck?
I mean, you're getting past how to make an argument and how to deal with a crisis. The problem isn't that crazy people believe crazy things. It's that a appreciable percentage of one political party believes things that are factually untrue and don't make any sense. I mean, the tenets of QAnon are not logical. This isn't
True.
This isn't like believing that, like, in lone gunman conspiracy theories, the logic here is just not there. There's off the wall craziness, with international pederasty and satanic blood drinking and stuff that would get you turned down at a Hollywood script agent. This is just not logical behavior. And, at some point, the problem isn't that like crazy people believe crazy things. It's that they are aided and abetted by office holders, that people
Yes.
are playing people are playing either footsie with QAnon or this they really believe. The problem is that, David DePape, who the alleged attacker, his worldview appears to match some of the more extreme members of Congress's. So that's a problem. And, America's never been like a great and empathetic place, but the fact of the matter is, that an octogenarian was hit by a hammer in his own home. And, whenever you see the words, skull fracture and 82-year-old in the same sentence, that's bad news, right?
Right.
So
Yeah.
the lack of empathy here is sickening. But, this is not a surprise to anyone. I believe, Adam Serwer from The Atlantic put it well. The cruelty is the point.
Yeah.
I have to say I was surprised. I never expected a conspiracy theory to pop up so fast after this one. I mean, to me, you just take it on face value. A guy breaks in, attacks Paul Pelosi, motive to be determined, but likely political, whatever. Not that these wild conspiracy theories. I mean, I don't even know how someone's working overtime to come up with these things in such a rapid fire
There's an
manner.
atmosphere for it. There's a food chain for it, and there's a need for it to be there. People can't accept the fact that their worldview fostered this kind of reaction, and they need a reaction here. But of course, even the conspiracy theory that this is some gay lovers tryst, that doesn't work. Paul Pelosi, let's say that there's some credence there. I think Paul Pelosi could do better. And it doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense to me that people convince themselves of this. And I have to tell you, I had the name David DePape very early, and in waiting for a second source, I did not break that news. But very early, I put up that it was David DePape of Berkeley, which it turns out he lives in Richmond, which is not quite the same thing. But
Right.
the 24 to 36 hours of deranged MAGA people retweeting at me and tweeting my stuff just for a very basic, the attacker was David DePape. He, formerly a Castro nudist protester. This is going to be bizarre. Just wild and crazy stuff. And people who don't understand the term Castro nudist protester and thought I had something to do with Cuba, just amazing
Oh,
things.
geez. Are you serious? Oh my
And
God.
then like, I do not expect, nationwide MAGA trolls to review my tweets. I'm a San Francisco writer. And, in retrospect, if I'd said Castro district nudist protester, that would have cleared up a lot of things. But, that's neither here nor there. If you write in Castro nudist protester into Google, you find the stories about this. It's not a conspiracy, right? But the level of people living online, it almost proves the point. It's a different reality.
Do you think that this is, Joe, do you think that this is because some of them might just be trolls and they know what they're doing and they know they're spewing nonsense and sharing nonsense and targeting people like yourself? Or do you think it's more these people actually believe it and they want to continue to search for those that support these wacky ideas?
On some level, it's a difference without a distinction. On others, it's just
but like, why does Tucker Carlson do it? Why does Elon Musk do it? Why do these people do it? It can't. The sad part is, I think it's just for clicks and money. They say
I don't think
I think they believe it, right?
If Elon Musk wanted money, he shouldn't have invested $44 billion in Twitter and gone into bonded debt. I think Elon Musk has proven that the man who runs one of the larger media platforms in the world is media illiterate. Retweeting an extremely disreputable news source like that is like the first thing that any responsible person should not do. It was not lost on me that he was tweeting at Hillary Clinton, a news source that had earlier said Hillary Clinton was dead and had been replaced by a fembot or something. So, you're getting to the point where there's extreme negligence here that becomes indistinguishable from moronic, stupid behavior or believing in this stuff. Tucker Carlson's motives are almost not worth parsing. We know what he's doing, and we know what it's accomplishing. So Tucker Carlson ought to know better, but at some point, doesn't matter.
Right. So, okay, I don't want to, how are you feeling as we, deal with stories like this? Are you foreseeing? I mean, looking into your crystal ball here, Joe. Are we going to just see more of this? Is this going to get worse? Are people going to get fed up with this? Is something like an attack on the husband of the House Speaker going to change something for people's minds, in your opinion? I mean, where do we go from here?
No, I don't think it's going to change people's minds at all. I think that people can rationalize that it was, that we haven't heard all the facts yet, and there's mitigating evidence, and despite the fact that they're going to nail him to the wall both federally and locally, and it seems to be an open and shut case, everybody is trying to take it their own way. For example, the police officers union here and others have said that this is all because of people dumping on the police and driving good people out of the field. I don't understand what that has to do with anything. If anything, people should be jumping to commend the police for their excellent response here. That would have been the normal response, instead of saying that some isolated loner living in a garage who was both giving and receiving right-wing talking points. How somehow this has to do with the fact that we actually didn't defund the police, etc. The message is becoming contorted. At some point, you just have to lay out the facts. This man who expressed these things and is accused of doing this, and the case seems pretty solid. And here's what happened. I don't think people's worldview is going to change. I think it's going to retrench everyone where they were. But that doesn't mean the people who are saying, this is reprehensible and seems to be the wave of the future, and also seems to be explaining more about right-wing discourse than about, San Francisco's problems, of which there are many. I don't think they're wrong. Yeah. I think that's the right point of view.
I'm reading your article and looking at kind of the portion where you describe 9/11 truthers. I'm wondering, how we got from, there's always been conspiracy theorists, people who, they're a little wacky. Well,
Or
you talk
fringe.
to them
Yeah.
and your eyes kind of widen and you think, oh, okay, got some interesting ideas. But how we got that from the wacky people to all of a sudden what you describe as right-wing grievance culture. How do those people get carried along from just being a little nutty to all of a sudden being a violent threat?
Well, part of it, I think, is the fact that things aren't going well for people in the United States, and that there's a greater and greater concentration of wealth in the hands of fewer, and that more and more people are struggling very hard to make it. And it's very hard to say the system is not working for me, or even harder to say I'm a failure. I haven't been able to make it. It's a lot easier to say that there's a vast conspiracy out there, or that it's all the fault of the government coddling minorities or coddling protected classes, and whatever happened to people like me who used to be considered special because I hit the lottery and was born white. So I think that's a lot of it. I think that a lot of people have a legitimate reason to feel bypassed in this society, but this is not the right response.
No, it's not. And I think that you nailed it perfectly. It's this othering of other people, or, that the world owes me something because I've been given X, Y, and Z for so long, or my ancestors were, or what have you. And I don't know how we're going to get out of that. I don't want to see anything like what happened to Paul Pelosi to happen to anybody else, Republican, Democrat, or in between. I think you're right, Joe. I don't think it's going to end, unfortunately. I will say this, though, just to end on that. Elon Musk buying Twitter, and possibly, between, charging for blue checks and maybe possibly having a huge exodus from the platform. Part of me thinks it might actually be a good thing if something like Twitter and these social media sites that are possibly with Twitter going to be less regulated. I hope people leave it. Although on one hand, I love social media, I love the interaction, I love being able to get information quickly. The spread of conspiracy theories as facts, especially when they come from people with blue check marks, is frightening. And maybe that's also what's led to the discourse in U.S. politics that we're seeing today.
I think that's on the high end. That's a problem. But let's give some blame where I think it belongs in the responsible media. I was disappointed to see the New York Times bringing up San Francisco's supposed crime wave of burglaries and drugs and Chesa Boudin, the ousted former DA. That is irresponsible to bring up in that way. If some delusional loon broke into Chuck Schumer's house and hit his wife with a hammer, I don't think that the San Francisco Chronicle would be writing about the crime problems of New York City or wherever the Schumers live in New York State. It's irrelevant. It's conflating issues that are not related. Right. So this is the New York Times. You need to do better.
You say something in your article that I think is really important, because people are looking at this story as just this wacky guy who broke in with a hammer. But you say this was an attempt to assassinate the ranking Democrat in the House, and people haven't thought of it that way.
I can't see how you could put it as anything else, if not to assassinate her, to physically harm her. These are his own words. And separate and apart from whatever you think about Nancy Pelosi, it's an 80-year-old woman. It's just a very debased act. But we at some point have to expect bizarre behavior from bizarre people. What's more troubling here is the enablers, and the fact that people are either seeing a way to make political hay out of this, or keeping their mouth shut because it's in their best interest to either ignore this or minimize this, or throw diversionary measures out there about how the facts aren't all out there.
Right. Joe Eskenazi, managing editor and columnist at Mission Local. Check out his article. Really, you're a great writer. You're a great editor. I love reading your stuff. I hope you'll come back on the show again soon, Joe. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you kindly. I appreciate your kind words, and hopefully next time I'm on the show, it will be about something less disturbing.
I hope so. I hope so too. Thanks, Joe. Have a good one. Joe Eskenazi again there from Mission Local. It's frightening. I was able to scan over some of the comments that were happening. One of the comments was quite interesting, and it was from No Jacket. Going back to 9/11, Joe Eskenazi was talking about the truthers. Kim was mentioning, that the alleged attacker had ties to truthers. Going back to 9/11, we were so united. Yes, but then very quickly, no. Depending on whether you were Muslim or people thought you were, or Arab or thought you were, or the color of your skin, and they filled in the blank on their own. They didn't really feel united, even if they were American born and raised. I bring that up because I want us to be really honest about where we were on 9/11. And on one hand, yes, we were united and you saw the American flags everywhere, but there was a lot of hate that happened following that. And in all honesty, you can even draw kind of a parallel to what happened with the pandemic, right? People of any sort of Asian descent were being targeted, blamed for the pandemic. And it's not right. We can't do that. We have to stop othering. Stop looking at one group of people as the sole problem and take responsibility for how we react to things. Right? Like Joe mentioned, waiting for all the facts and then being vilified because he got one tiny thing wrong. And all these MAGA and conspiracy theorists jumped on him. Someone else was asking about the conspiracy theories. There were a bunch. The Associated Press laid out a few. One, Joe mentioned that this was a domestic violence case in a consensual sexual relationship. Someone was saying that, maybe that Paul Pelosi was in his underwear when he arrived. Also, this was one that I was confused about, that both DePape and Pelosi were holding hammers. And that was because Chief Bill Scott had said police observed Pelosi and the suspect both holding a hammer.
Because he was trying to get it away from him.
Yeah, it was like they were wrestling it.
Right.
But I thought the same thing, though. So I will forgive people for that one, in all honesty. I will say I kind of thought the same thing. But no, apparently they were just wrestling over it. So that's been unfounded. And I think that was just kind of the way that it was phrased. There was a claim that two far-right websites attributed to DePape were created the day of the attack and deleted the next day, proving a left-wing attempt to smear him. But those websites existed before the attack, had entries dating back years. So people trying again to point to something that's not true as the reason why something bad happened is also part of the problem. Now, President Biden, when it happened, condemned the attack. He says, what makes us think that one party can talk about stolen elections, COVID being a hoax, this is all a bunch of lies, and it not affect people who may not be so well balanced? What makes us think that it's not going to corrode the political climate? Exactly. All right, let's take a quick break. We'll get some headlines from Kim McAllister. I do want to get to San Francisco Mayor London Breed's Halloween costume, keeping it in kind of San Francisco politics and being criticized for it. I'll show you a picture. You tell me who she was dressed up as and who people think she was dressed up as. We have a bunch of other stuff coming up in the show. We're going to go house shopping with less than $1 million in San Francisco.
Not possible. You can't do it.
It is. I'm going to show you some pictures. SF Gate put something together, and it's really, really funny. So you tell me if you'll spend that much. More express lanes are coming. I'm not happy about that. There's a trafficking story that has nothing to do with sex or drugs. You'll be surprised what it has to deal with. We'll talk a little bit more about Twitter as well, because I don't know how many people are actually leaving. But first, let's get some headlines from Kim McAllister.
Now, from around the world to up your street, the Nikki Medoro Show presents News Czar Kim McAllister.
This report sponsored by tax attorney Steve Moskowitz at 888 Tax Deal. Federal Reserve policymakers kicking off a 2-day meeting today that is widely expected to result in another interest rate hike. The central bank has been steadily raising rates to counter inflation. Analysts say with unemployment still at a 50-year low, the Fed is unlikely to change its stance until early next year. Polls show Brian Kemp leading the race for governor of Georgia. The Atlanta Journal-Constitution's final midterm poll gives the Republican governor a 7-point lead over Democrat Stacey Abrams. Raphael Warnock and Herschel Walker still even in the U.S. Senate race with more than 1.5 million ballots cast so far. The Supreme Court is declining to block a subpoena for Senator Lindsey Graham and Georgia's prosecutors' probe in alleged interference during the 2020 presidential election. Graham can now be subpoenaed thanks to the Supreme Court block, but he could also use the Fifth Amendment to avoid self-incrimination. We'll see how that plays out.
When you claim the Fifth Amendment, what are you telling people, Kim McAllister? You're telling people that you're too chicken to admit the truth.
Or you're saying that something happened there that could get you in real trouble, right?
Avi.
Because you don't want to incriminate yourself.
There you go.
It ain't nothing good. President Biden is campaigning for Democrats in Florida. White House says the president will speak in Miami Gardens this afternoon as he makes the case for electing Charlie Crist as governor and re-electing Congresswoman Val Demings. Biden is expected to stress how a Republican-controlled Congress could threaten Social Security and Medicare benefits. Some neighbors outraged about an Ohio homeowner's Halloween display. A man in the city of Willoughby, Ohio, has posed several skeletons in his front yard engaged in sex acts.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah, you won. Ding, ding for you. Neighbors say the display is inappropriate, especially since that house is right in front of Willoughby Middle School.
Well, I mean,
come on.
I mean, I get it. On one hand, I think it's hilarious, right? I mean, it's not real, but if it is in front of the school, it's a little tasteless.
Well, you just have to see the skeleton sex when they walk in and out of school. Can you imagine all the eighth graders standing around pointing and laughing?
Oh, you know they are. You know they are.
The school district says it hasn't received any complaints about the risque display. I'm surprised. The Willoughby parents are kind of taking it in stride. This report, sponsored by tax attorney Steve Moskowitz. For more than 30 years, Steve has put his tax knowledge to work for individuals and businesses alike. If you need help with your taxes, give Steve a call, 888-TAX-DEAL, or you can catch him online. It's MoskowitzLLP.com. I'm Kim McAllister on The Nikki Medoro Show.
Yes, definitely support and call Steve Moskowitz for any of your tax needs. He's a great founding sponsor of the show and a great support. You know, even besides supporting the show, he's a really nice man who's very knowledgeable. So support our sponsor who supports this show. If you are looking for other ways to support the show, there's one that's very free. You just click that thumbs up right now underneath the box, underneath the little video screen right there. And it helps, I don't know, something with the AI, the algorithm. I have no idea. So you can do that. You can also support us on our Patreon. Just go to thenikkimedoroshow.com. The links to the Patreon right there. You can donate any amount whatsoever. The live chat feature, the Super Chat. Super Chat's also live right now, and we'll read your super sticker. Your super chat will be pinned. Already, we've had a bunch of them this afternoon, and I really, really thank you all for that. It is raining. Somebody was asking, talk about the rain, and who was it? Was it Amy? Somebody's a dog walker. AMFB Brown. Try being a professional dog walker in this rain. It absolutely sucks. I'm looking. So people were asking earlier, because I know Mark was talking about this, but it wasn't raining in San Jose, and it just started coming down within, I'd say, the last 10 minutes or so. So that's nice. Thank God it didn't happen yesterday during Halloween. Just to let you know. My dogs go out, rain or shine. I would imagine you do have to walk the dogs, rain or shine. I mean, I wonder, that's a business model, right? Like an indoor dog park. I don't know. Right? I mean, a nice big, I don't know.
Maybe that's our next business venture.
Yeah, there you go. That would be a bit messy, though.
We're an
but
empire.
Yes, we welcome the rain. Absolutely. Yes, our empire, our media empire. Okay, so Halloween, in case anybody missed it, my son did win his school costume contest. It was, as a parent, Kim, you feel me on this. When your kid wins something that you put a lot of effort into, it's your win. We won.
Of course it is.
My husband and I won. So it was awesome.
I don't know if you're going to be able to see this, but I kind of wanted to share something with you. And I've had problems playing sound, but this is a house on D Street in Petaluma.
Okay.
And it's video. So I'll see if you play it. But they have, see the Day of the Dead skulls on the house?
Yeah. Is that a mariachi band right there?
It's a mariachi band. This is a party. It's a mariachi band. I don't know if you'll be able to hear it. Can you hear it?
Oh, I can't hear it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we still haven't figured out how to get your computer to play sound on the show, but I could see it, and I know I could probably playing Voltaire or something because
Yeah. So
that's
it's
just
really fun, but
awesome.
it's such a party there and so many people and they have this house. They have set up
Amazing.
in the back a candy bar, like like a store. You get to pick your candy and it's all full size candy. And it's
Wow.
like you're walking into a candy store, but it's all set up outside. They've got the mariachi band. They used to have a taco truck that would come up and you buy dinner. They didn't give it away for free, but just a party. And this is just part of the scene on D Street in Paluma. Just so much fun.
That is awesome. Yeah, we had, like I mentioned, we had so many people and cars drive by our neighborhood. And then one of our friends, the one that's I always blame for making it so crazy, which is awesome. I love
Yeah.
it. They had a kid line and an adult line. And so if you were in the know, you knew about the adult line, which of course I did. And they were giving out shots of Fireball. And it was,
Okay.
woo, I was like, I'm not getting candy.
I
I'll
have
just get
a
my one shot of Fireball, please.
I have a friend who lives in this general area, so they get a lot of trick-or-treaters, and she
Uh,
said for the first time, she've never seen more adult trick-or-treaters coming through, like people in their 50s that were dressed up and coming and
heck
trick-or-treating,
yeah.
getting
Oh,
candy.
yeah.
She's like, maybe the people need the candy. I don't know. I'm just gonna give it anyway. It's not for just the kids anymore."
Well, what I was thinking, I was telling my husband because again, we went through more than 1,000 pieces of candy, and my husband, I adore him, but usually on regular years where we don't give out nearly before all this craziness happened, he would like a group of kids would come into the door. And then he would, it's kind of mean on one hand, and I tell him not to do it. But he's like, I like your costume the best. And he would let them like take a handful of candy,
So,
and everyone else
okay.
would get one.
That's so funny because I have to tell you something Jacob did last night. Julia was having tween angst
Okay.
and was like, "I'm not gonna go trick-or-treating," and la 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 la. So
What?
he thought
Like,
she ended up going, but he thought Jacob is 8. He thought he was going to have to get enough candy so he'd have enough to share with his sister.
oh,
So I'm thinking to myself, as Jacob goes up, he likes to chat the people up. So
oh, he's
he'll
one of those.
stay
Okay.
there and he'll stay like 10 minutes talking to the people. I'm thinking, we're not going to get to very many houses if you're just chatting the whole time. You got to move, move, move.
Oh, yeah,
Otherwise,
yeah,
we're gonna, like,
yeah. We're
miss
never gonna get
20
any
houses.
candy.
No. So he's apparently more brilliant than will ever be in this life because he says, "Mom, the longer I stay and talk to people, the more candy they give me. They just keep shoveling candy in my bag. Like every couple of minutes, they'll just throw
Maybe they're
another one
like,
in the
maybe
bag."
if I give him more, he'll walk away.
I guess they keep putting handfuls of candy in the bag. So the more he talks about his costume and Halloween,
Oh,
the
there
more
you
candy he
go.
gets.
I
So
love
yeah,
kids.
we didn't have to go a lot, to a million houses because Jacob just took all the candy.
That is awesome. I mean, I was telling my husband, I'm like, what if we just go around and go collect candy like we're a kid and then just put it back in our bucket to give out to more people because a lot ending. Thought it was kind of brilliant at the time, but
This friend ran out of candy, so she was picking out the candy from her all the
for a
kids
bag
back
that she didn't
in the house.
like.
All the ones that nobody liked. She's like, "Okay," and there was like 20 kids over at her house. She goes, "Okay, everybody give me the candy you don't want. It's going
There
back in
you
the bucket to give out." Yeah.
What candy do you not like?
I don't like the chewy ones that end in my teeth.
Ooh,
Like, I
I
don't
like
like
those.
the gumdrops or
Dog.
the milk
Mm,
duds or the
mm.
chewed fruit. Those ones, I don't like those ones.
I don't like
And
Whoppers.
Dum-Dums. Oh god, my husband loves Whoppers.
Oh, it's like I don't know, sawdust covered in chocolate. I don't like it. I don't like it. Like,
Oh.
I don't like malt balls at all.
Mhm.
No, no,
My
thank you.
favorite would be the Junior Mints and the York Peppermint Patties. I likes the
I
best.
like yogurt. I do. I like those. I like Reese's Pieces. There's not many I don't like. I just won't eat Whoppers. Like, every time I gave one out, I was like, "Sorry, kid. That one sucks."
I don't
Swedish
want the
fish?
Dum-Dums. Don't give me the
My
Dum-Dums.
husband, Chris Ogburn loves Swedish fish. Those were his very, very favorite.
The Swedish
Um,
fish are not wanted at my house. They get tossed out.
I don't think they're sweet enough.
Mm.
I like, Sour Patch Kids and things like that, like the gummy kinda candy, I love that. I don't feel like Swedish fish has enough sugar in it. I know it's terrible to say, but it's probably all sugar. It's just not sweet enough. Charleston Chews for the shout out, No Jacket,
Yeah.
absolutely. I never get enough of those. My daughter ended up getting a lot of the full size,
Ooh.
Starbursts and all kinds of things, like, she got a lot of big ones. Oh, Eric Kennedy, we had a dentist who lived a few streets down when I was a kid. Everyone would make it a point to go there. He gave out toothbrushes every year. Oh, at least they
We
supported him.
had that
Someone was giving out
too.
Pringles last night, so that's
We
awesome.
had a dentist that lived on D Street, and his kind of villa-looking house, we decorated it like a pirate thing and
Ooh,
called
yeah.
it Cavity Cove, but he'd give out toothbrushes. Kind of fun.
I mean, you need a toothbrush. I won't look up, I'll take your toothbrush. JR, we hand out loose cigarettes. They get destroyed in the bag.
I
I
don't know
want to
what
give a
those
shout
are.
out.
Chico sticks?
What
I
are
don't know
Chico sticks? Hold on, I'm
Mm-mm.
Googling that. Chico
Chico
sticks.
sticks. I don't know what that is.
Is that a meat stick? Hold
I don't
on.
know.
Oh no, Chico stick. Is it Chico stick that you're talking about? I don't even know what that. It's in a wrapper. I don't even know what that's made out of. What is it? Anybody know what it is? It doesn't. You know what it looks like? I'm looking at a picture of it. Kind of looks like the inside of a Butterfinger. Is that what it is?
Can you share your screen? I want to see it.
No, I'm on Amazon. Yeah, man. Okay, here. Let me see if I can bring this up. But yeah, I don't know. I like Butterfingers. Those are kind of cool. Let's see. Are those like Butterfingers without chocolate? Maybe. Let's see. Here we go. Share. Can you see this? Do you see
Yeah.
that?
Oh, that's a Chico stick? Chico stick?
Chico stick? I don't know.
Yeah.
I've never had that before. If
looks
it's
like
the inside of a
honeycomb.
Butterfinger, then I'm saying, yeah, baby. But otherwise, it kind of looks like bark, like tree bark, not like
Yeah.
peppermint bark. It tastes like totally
Interesting.
like a Butterfinger. There you go. Okay. I've never, ever seen one of those, ever. But that's pretty good. Can I give a quick shout out to Andreas? You are awesome. Giving us $50 as a super sticker. You guys can do that as well and support the show. It's in the live
That's
chat feature. If
very
you,
generous, Andreas.
it is
Really
very
nice.
generous. I mean, I can't do this show without people like you, honestly. So in the live chat feature, you'll see a $sign. And Kim, am I correct that they can do it even if they listen to the show after the live broadcast?
I don't know how it works. I'm so sorry.
Okay. If anybody knows, I think you can, but it might look different. It might be in a box or something else, but it's like a $sign. And you can still do it and it still supports the show financially. But Andreas, you're awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much for that $50 super sticker. It helps so much. And again, our Patreon is up and running. If you want to be a monthly subscriber, if you want to donate for the year, you can find all of the links on our website, NikkiMedoroShow.com, the YouTube links, the Patreon link, all right there. Okay, I need to get to London Breed though. Okay, so London Breed, I mean, I will say this. Her costume was amazing. If she was in a Halloween contest, I think she would have won. So I'm going to show it to you. You tell me who she is. Okay, ready, Kim?
Okay.
Who do you think she is? Without me telling you anything, who do you think she is?
Okay, I'm going to have two guesses here.
Okay.
One is Marie Antoinette.
Mhm.
The second would be the Queen from the Bridgertons.
You would be correct by the second one, but the first one is what a lot of people were saying she was. There's nobody was making the connection to Bridgerton. I saw it instantly. I'm like, she's not going to be Marie Antoinette. But so she was taking pictures with other people. So here's London Breed. I don't know the names of the other people. I didn't get a good, but that person that's apparently Elon Musk. I'm assuming that's Elon Musk or it's just an astronaut because there's the rocket on the back, is holding a sign. And the sign says SFUSD, the school district is ready to blast off. I'm assuming they're with the district.
Right.
Okay, so that's the real sign. That's what the sign says. SFUSD is ready to blast off. They're an astronaut with a rocket. Makes sense.
Cute.
But somebody on Twitter did this. They changed it. They changed the sign that they were holding to say, let them eat cake, which of course has been attributed to Marie Antoinette, not caring about the lowly people. And, you know, on one hand, should she have seen this coming? I mean, I know Bridgerton is a very popular show, but I mean, it's London Breed, who has often faced criticism for, you know, not caring about, you know, other people, you know, rules for thee, not for me type of thing. I think it looks just like Bridgerton, Cindy. I'm hands down, I knew instantly what it was, but it's one of those things where do you need a focus group to kind of go over your costume and be like, but it might also look like this. And that's that's kind of the criticism that's happening with London
No,
Breed.
I mean, because my first reaction was it's either Marie Antoinette or Bridgerton.
Right.
When I first thought it, I thought, oh, Marie Antoinette because of the hair.
Yes. Well, yeah, I think that's
But
what a lot of people do.
and I think you can bank on the fact that everyone watches the show, right? Or that
Do
everyone knows the show.
I mean, I think
I
everyone
think
knows the show.
and I know Halloween is fun, and we had someone write, "It's Halloween, people, lighten up." Geez, Yvonne. But and yes, I agree. But when you're a public figure and mayor of the
Exactly.
city with people that are homeless all over the street, you got to think about these things. Someone
You
should have looked
do.
at her before she walked out and said, "You look amazing. However,
Oh,
maybe we should pin a sign to you that says Queen so and so from Bridgerton or something."
Or do something with somebody else, like,
Mhm.
that's
Right.
another character is what I'm
Right,
saying. Like
right.
another character to kind of reinforce what you
What's
are.
unmistakable, because I think you have to think what you have to ask the question, kind of like, one of those people that looks at what could go wrong.
Yes.
What
Focus group.
Yeah,
Focus group.
what could people think about this? Before I leave the house, what could people assume about me? And you have to actually do that whole risk analysis thing about,
Right.
the worst thing that could happen to you before you walk out the door. Unfortunately, that's the way we're living now.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I think the comparison to Marie Antoinette, the costume does look like it. Someone was asking, where can I see Bridgerton? It's a Netflix show. So you have to subscribe to Netflix. And apparently not much longer, you can't steal people's login. So that's ending.
Okay,
Um,
sea star lady. My first thought was Marie Antoinette too. Now I quickly went to Bridgerton, like right after, but I don't know if my first thing was, is that Marie Antoinette? Oh, no, 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 it's the Bridgertons. If you hadn't seen the Bridgertons, I think that's what you would think. So I don't know if
yeah.
people are so dense necessarily.
Yeah, I think that it's an honest mistake. Let me just say that. There's no bread. Let them get baked. That's awesome. I'm going to be talking about a bit about bread later on in the show. Bridgerton, I never heard of the show. What?
Where are
It's
you
on
living?
Netflix. It's great because it got a lot of attention because for its very diverse casting, and so and it of the time period that it's from, and that black people are in power, and I thought London Breed nailed the costume, Queen whatever the hell her name is on the
Yeah.
show. If it had been Marie Antoinette, Eric Kennedy writes, it would have been bloodier. Good
Off with their
point.
head. Yes.
Off with their heads. I saw one of the coolest costumes I saw yesterday was the Beetlejuice characters, Gina Davis and Alec Baldwin, their characters on Beetlejuice. But
Yeah.
remember when their faces are all stretched out? But you can buy that costume at the spirit store with their faces and their eyes and everything because they were trying to be scary. They paper mache'd it. They actually paper mache'd the whole entire mask. It was
Oh.
really, really cool. I saw a lot of cute costumes yesterday. I have time to squeeze this one more Halloween story in, and this is quite frightening. So, one Michigan house. Did you hear about this? This Michigan house. It's in Wyandotte, Michigan. This one house made them ban Halloween trick or treating for the entire neighborhood. So what
Why?
happened? Now the house has since been abandoned, but apparently they had a cockroach infestation that was so severe that the people living there were told to vacate. And because they were so scared of it spreading beyond just that block and neighborhood, they would not allow anyone to go trick or treating. They were going to be spraying insecticide, which obviously added to them saying, don't go in here. But what they were also saying is they didn't want people trick or treating, having the cockroaches because there were so many of them latching on to costumes because, costumes can drag on the ground or whatever, or stepping on, maybe cockroaches and the eggs get attached and then bringing the cockroach infestation into other people's homes. Now, apparently a wellness check had been done on trash pickup day. A neighbor said a worker picking up trash at the house in question noticed something moving after the garbage had been tossed in the back of
Ew.
the truck. The entire
No.
bag was filled with roaches.
No, no,
So again,
no.
they basically condemned the home or made the people living there get out. Among the violations and general unsanitary conditions that the city cites in the letter include foul odor, garbage, junk, debris, litter strewn all over the place in the kitchen. Sounds like a hoarder home is what it really sounds like. But yeah, so they canceled No one was allowed to go trick-or-treating within a certain radius of this home because they were scared that they were going to be bringing in the cockroaches into their homes. Isn't that gross?
Oh.
Yeah, I've never had a cockroach infestation. I know I've seen them. Are they hard? I mean, has anybody had to deal with trying to get rid of
So when
cockroaches from their home?
I was living in a little apartment in Davis, and it's really, really hot there during the summer. And so
Right.
you walk outside and there's cockroaches all over the sidewalk. I guess the heat brings them out or something.
No, no. I
And
will not be
so
living there.
the cockroaches used to get in the building, and I remember there was like a square fan right over the toilet in the bathroom. And the cockroaches would drop out of the fan and land on the toilet.
No. No.
I was petrified that I would be
No.
sitting there and one would drop on me. So I covered the fan with like foil. I wrapped I took it off and I covered it in foil. I did not want anything coming. All I could think
No.
of was looking up at the fan vent and feeling like something was going to come out of there any minute. So
Oh,
that's my
God.
experience with cockroaches.
I
Yeah.
don't know what it is about insects and bugs. I mean, and rodents. And I think we talked about this before. We have to share the planet with other, insects and animals. I get it. I don't want to see you. I don't want to have an interaction. I don't want your life to blend with my life in a way that scares the living bejesus out of me. No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't be able to do that. I know. So our front door. I don't know if it's the house settling or what have you. But our front door has this kind of little bit of a gap underneath it. And so I purchased, kind of the gap cover for my door. And it's arrived. I still have to put it on. But when I was researching the best one and what would work for my door, cockroaches were one of the things people were citing on why they wanted to buy it, because they wanted to stop the cockroaches from coming underneath their door and into their house. I don't know what's worse. Roaches or bed bugs? Bed bugs. Hands
Bed bugs.
down.
Yeah.
Bed bugs. No. Bed bugs.
I don't think cockroaches bite you, do they? I don't think they bite people.
I don't know. I don't know anything about cockroaches that
But
much,
bed
thank
bugs
God.
bite you. And
I remember.
I think bed bugs are hard to get rid of.
Yeah, I think you have to heat up the room. It's like a process to get rid of bed bugs. You have to raise the entire place to ground. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's basically it. Laura says Concord has an oriental cockroach problem. They're mainly outside, but I see them on the sidewalks. No, at night. Nope. No. Ew. Cockroaches are good with, I should not yuck your yum, BG. I should
Okay.
not.
This one freaks me out.
I was on an AC transit bus in Oakland, John writes in, and they turned the heat on and roaches started running out. I would have a panic attack. If that happened and I would be banging on the doors like, let me out. Let me out. No Jacket says my cousin back east had white cockroaches. Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Never heard of what, I learned so much from our listeners and viewers. You have to seal everything in Ziplocs. My house, everything. The Oriental cockroaches live on the ground and are looking for water. German roaches are different and they thrive on food leftovers. No, thank you. Okay, you guys are grossing me out. All I have to say is I don't want cockroaches in my house. Tony Montana. I ate the cockroaches for breakfast. All right. Here in Colorado, all up with centipedes and spiders, but roaches are just nasty. You'll put up with, I think they're saying, centipedes and spiders. No, Yvonne, they jumped out at us from the closet in Santorini, Greece, and we freaked. Who wouldn't?
I would.
Who wouldn't? I would freak out. I'd freak out if a fly was landing on my head, though, like I was Mike Pence or something. I don't know. They do sell bedbug bombs, but you don't want bedbugs, Floyd writes in. Yeah. If I heard, who does this when they go to a hotel? You know what they tell you to do when you go to a hotel or a motel?
How?
When you go look in the bed and you peel away the sheet in the corner and you check the creases of the mattress, because that's apparently where bed bugs like to hide. And so that's what I do it every time. I don't care how fancy the hotel is. That is the first thing I do. And you should not put your suitcase on the ground. You should definitely use those suitcase wax things. Yeah.
Have you ever found one when you've been peeling back your mattress? And
I would not be staying there. No, that would not be a thing. That would not be that's not in any realm of possibility for myself. Okay, we're gonna do a quick news update. When we come back, we are gonna do a bunch of things. We're gonna go do some house hunting in San Francisco, but we only have $1 million, less than $1 million. We don't have $1 million. So we're gonna go through some pictures and you tell me, is it worth it? Would you buy this home? I already know what the kind of answer is, but I like to play this. We do have areas of seeing some rain, so that's a good thing. And then another express lane is going to be opening up on 101. Are you liking the express lanes? Are you using the express lanes? Do you think the express lanes are serving the purpose that they're supposed to be? So that's all coming up. But first, we do need to take a look at some headlines with the Kim McAllister.
Now, from around the world to up your street, the Nikki Medoro Show presents News Czar Kim McAllister.
And this report sponsored by tax attorney Steve Moskowitz at 888 Tax Deal. Democrats are behind Republicans by 2 points on a generic congressional ballot. A Wall Street Journal poll finding 46% of voters would vote for a GOP candidate versus 44% who would vote for a Democratic one. The pivotal midterms are next Tuesday. Florida school shooter Nicholas Cruz facing sentencing, and his victims starting today. He was sentenced to life in prison after pleading guilty to all charges connected to the 2018 shooting that killed 17 people at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School. The judge set to formally sentence him to life in prison without parole tomorrow after the families speak. A lot of millennials say they are behind on their retirement savings. A Goldman Sachs survey found 34% of millennial workers are behind, compared to 53% of working boomers, 51% of Gen Xers. The study also showed notable differences between concerns that different generations have, including savings levels and planning out for what they consider a comfortable retirement. Requests for abortion pills on the rise following the Supreme Court's reversal of Roe v. Wade in June. The study found nearly a 120% increase in online abortion pill orders in July and August. Researchers found states with the largest increases were those that put total bans in place. Man accused of killing 7 people at the suburban Highland Park 4th of July parade due in court today. It will be Robert Cremeo III's first appearance before a judge since early August. That is when the defendant pleaded not guilty for the deaths of 7 people, the wounding of dozens more. The NFL trade deadline is today, and teams will have until 4 p.m. Eastern to make any moves via trades with other teams. Earlier today, the Detroit Lions traded tight end TJ Hawkinson to the Minnesota Vikings draft pick compensation. It'll be interesting to see if Nikki's 49ers do anything differently for today. What do you think, Nikki? Will they?
I'm muted. I haven't heard any inklings. I don't really follow the drafts. I know I should, but I'm not that kind of fan. My husband will tell me if there's anything of significance that I should be carrying.
Run in. Yes, they should make a trade.
I'm like, okay, great. There you go.
And now that Halloween's over, in come the Christmas stories. The very first trailer is being released for the sequel of A Christmas Story. It's called A Christmas Story Christmas, and it brings back the original star, Pete Billingsley, as Ralphie, who is now an adult and returns to the home he grew up in with his new family.
And he's hot.
Is he hot?
Have you seen him? Have you seen him? Hold on. I got to find the picture. The guy, very good looking. Hold on. Hold on. This is worth it. I'm telling you, people. It is totally worth it. Let's see if I can bring this up. Okay. Now, no, Ralphie wasn't an ugly kid. I'm not saying that. But here, hold on. Let's see. Oh, is it not going to come up? Oh, here we go. Let's see this. This will be pretty good. He's not bad looking. See him? He's right there.
Ralphie grew up cute.
Yeah, he grew up kind of cute.
Is it the same actor?
That is the same guy.
Wow. Okay.
I know, right? See? You just see all of you people out there who have kids are like, oh, he's not cute. Just wait. Sometimes those kids just need to grow up a bit.
So the film will be set in the 1970s. The original was set in the 40s. A Christmas Story Christmas will debut on HBO Max on November 17th. So something to look forward to. Pretty fun. And this report is sponsored by tax attorney Steve Moskowitz for more than 30 years. Steve has put his tax knowledge to work for individuals and businesses. If you need help with your taxes, just want to chat with Steve, give him a call, 888-TAX-DEAL, or you can reach him on the web at moskowitzllp.com. I'm Kim McAllister on The Nikki Medoro Show.
Whoop, whoop. All right. Yes. Give Steve Moskowitz a call for any of your tax needs. Again, hit that thumbs up button right now. Just once. You don't need to do it more than that. Kind of negates the whole thing. So just hit it once each and every show. It helps us out. Visit our Patreon at thenikkimedoroshow.com to give us some support. And of course, if you donate to our super chat or get a super sticker, you'll see the $ right under the live chat right now. We will, of course, give you a shout out moment. It happens right here on the show. Okay, so let's do a little shopping, shall we? So now I know, Kim, you've mentioned this before. You would not be able to afford the home that you live in now.
No,
for what
not
it's
even.
worth now.
Mm-mm.
Okay. And me, I mentioned I'm very cheap or frugal or whatever nice word you want to use. I can't imagine spending $1 million on what's offered for $1 million. So let's just say you have less than $1 million.
How
What can
much,
you
Nikki?
get?
What do I
Huh?
got? Do I have like 800? Do I have 500? What do I have?
Well, let's start with this home right here. Let me share my screen with you. So, because we're going to go shopping together. Ready? Okay. So this is a home on 350 Houth Street. Okay. Now you can see it right there. I'm gonna increase the picture. So hopefully this works. There we go. Okay. So this is 350
General
Houth
house?
Street. It's a house. Okay. So there we go. I mean, I don't care for the color very much. The brick's kind of nice.
It's on a
Okay. So
hill.
walk in.
I'm not
It's
liking
on a
the
hill.
carpet
Well, I mean, it's
textures.
San
It's long,
Francisco.
narrow room.
It does seem really narrow, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I like the door. I think if you kind of shined up that door a little bit. Ignore the drapes. I love when people go, I don't like the drapes. Take them off. You're not buying the
Yeah,
drapes.
that's
Get
nothing.
rid of that chandelier right there. This sold for $975,000.
How many bedrooms?
2-bedroom, 1 bath,
Wow.
1,016 square feet. I love the
Yeah.
TV.
Yeah.
The wooden closet doors, the like paneling is just amazing. I mean, this is the setup to have with the cables. I mean, you
Oh,
can't move
yeah.
that table over to just kind of make the cords go straight. I guess not. I guess this
No.
is the hill. It's quite a
Nice
view,
view.
though,
A lot
of
of powerful
wires.
wires in the plaything, but a city view.
OMG.
Oh. Is that a
Now, who
maroon
makes a
throne?
decision like this? Who makes a
That's a
decision like this? Look at the
And then
floor. Look at the throne. Yeah, look at the toilet and
and
it
then
matches the
you
tub.
look at the step up to the bathtub, like it's like you got a high jump getting in there.
But do you notice the TV? The TV on the left, on the
Oh,
like
well,
they have it
apparently
all
we
set
can't
up.
we can't be without our Fox News, Nikki, as we soak in the tub.
So open the take a poop, you got to have it. I love the gigantic kitchen garbage can there. I don't know what they're doing. It's not a typical garbage can for a bathroom. I
Oh.
mean, those flowers are fake. Those flowers. I love the remote control. I mean, the staging makes me want to spend oh my God, $75,000. Look at that wallpaper. I
Mm,
mean, that is a national treasure, if you ask me. Here's the kitchen. The kitchen's actually not too bad. I mean, you need to update the cabinets.
yeah.
Oh, they have an exercise room right in front of the laundry. So you can work out while your clothes are being done. Love the shag carpet.
This house looks like perhaps it hasn't been really redecorated since
At
maybe
all.
the 70s, maybe
There's a
80s.
shower, a laundry, and an exercise machine in this room. That's a
Interesting.
shower, right?
It looks like
Looks
it.
like a
It's an
shower.
interesting place for your exercise machine.
But it has a
Mm,
yard. It
okay.
has a yard, which not a lot of places you have. I mean,
In the city, it's hard to come by, I think.
exactly. Yeah, I wouldn't pay $975,000. Anybody in the live chat? Does this look like a screaming deal to you? But people buy it. The reason why I'm doing this is because it just sold.
Oh
It
man,
just
that's
sold.
crazy.
All right, let's take a look at another one. So this one just sold for $900,000. It is at 146 Vienna Street in San Francisco. Here we go. Now, I don't like this style house where you feel like you could just, you're in a movie scene and you're jumping from roof to roof to roof,
I'm a
right?
living in a box.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm
it
a
is
living in a
literally
cardboard box.
right.
Yeah.
I mean, when they start with the view that you can see, there's not much to see inside. So the lighting situation is a bit odd. This also looks the wood paneling though. I grew up in a house with wood paneling. We had it everywhere.
Nice floors.
Floors
Floors are
look pretty
better than
fine.
the last place.
Yeah, got some stairs, a little narrow. So if you have some, mobility issues, you'd have to deal with that. But it's San Francisco. It looks dirty though. I mean, again, sold for $900,000. You had to have another $900,000, I think, just to gut the damn thing. This is awful.
Oh,
Look at
pink
that
sink.
pink sink, and look how narrow that area is for the toilet. Oh, this person did have mobility issues. Obviously, they have a chair in the shower. Yeah, I want to see the outside though. Like, look at that. I mean, who puts pink tile? So here's my question. I mean, people give all these negative headlines about San Francisco, and yet these homes are selling. They have to be optimistic. I mean, you have to be optimistic about the city to buy something like this, right?
I wonder if they were purchased by investors though, in thinking that a little bit of like you said, shine up the door, rip out the carpet, spruce it up a little bit, and I can turn around and sell that for more than $1 million.
Yeah, but again, when you're spending that much money, even if you are an investor, it is a gamble, although I guess it's a good gamble. I mean, even though we have all these terrible headlines, right? And the prices keep going up, and we have the homeless problem and everything like that, people still want to buy it. And I understand that they can be flipped. I understand it, but that means that you believe that someone's going to want to buy it for an even higher price. It blows my mind what people spend their money on. Let's see. There was another one that I really, I didn't like, but it looked really good. Okay, this is another one. This one's pretty good. I mean, it looks, and this is 900. Now, I'll preface this, and I know why it looks good, and it's still 900. It's because it's only a 1-1. Okay, so this is a 1-bedroom, 1-bath. But look at that. Now that's staging.
That's nice.
That's nice. So
1-bedroom, 1-bath. Is it a house or a townhouse?
Ooh, good question. Let me see. Is it a house or a townhouse? Let me look at the details here.
Or an apartment
Read it
or
like
something.
I think it's a home. Okay. No, I think it is a home, a single family residence. Okay. 1 attached garage space built in 1920. Central air, because that's important. See, look how much staging makes a difference though, right? No, I don't like the blue, but that's an easy fix. That's easy. See, the bedroom's kind of nice. You have an actual view, no wires. That sells it.
Yeah, nice backyard.
I love the little tag on the bottom. Photo has been virtually staged. So that stuff's not there. Okay. I'm like, how much has been virtually staged? But see, I like the color. The fireplace is nice, although I would never have painted the brick. I don't like that. I don't think that looks nice at all. I mean, the kitchen, the floor in the kitchen, that leaves a lot to be desired. I don't really care for that. Gas stove. I might have to go away soon if you remodel it with the new rules about that stuff, right? So you might have to not do much. The floors need to be redone. But $900,000 for a 1-1. That's not too bad. There was another home sold for the same amount. I think it was a 2-1.
Murphy says that's a place you would buy it or rent it out, like an Airbnb, right?
Ooh, that's a good point. Yeah. Not quite sure about the neighborhood that it's in, but these are the places you can get going house shopping with less than $1 million. Hopefully tickets, and I know that you did this in your news. Taylor Swift is going on tour soon.
Yeah.
She's going to be at Levi's Stadium. I will be trying to get tickets. My daughter would love to see Taylor Swift. We saw her once at Levi's, and it was crazy, but it was a really good concert. But I'm on, alert me for certain kind of acts. And so I got the alert this morning about the Taylor Swift tour. And what you could do is you can go on Ticketmaster and kind of not reserve a place in line, but reserve a notification. I'm not quite sure exactly what you get. So they launched this landing page for a verified fans pre-sale program. It doesn't guarantee you a ticket, but allows access to early tickets starting on November 15th. If you sign up anytime before November 9th, you'll qualify for that pre-sale access. So if you have any Swifties out there you go. It's intended to ward off bots and scalpers. But because there's so many Taylor Swift fans, the page warns of extended wait times just to sign up. I mean, I was able to, I think, I should double check. I thought that I got into the correct register. But yeah, the bots kill, real fans from being able to to get tickets to the artists that they want to see. All right, so
Did
I
you
just checked
see
my Twitter
you
account or my my Ticketmaster,
okay.
and I have registered for the verified fan presale. So there you go.
Did you see the story about Taylor Swift that for the first time
Mhm.
all of the top 10 spots on the Hot Billboard 100 are
Yes.
filled with her songs. She's got every song in the top 10.
I have been listening to her album because my daughter is a huge fan. I mean, she loves Taylor Swift's new, and I think some of the songs are pretty good. Would Taylor Swift be my first choice to spend, probably a decent amount on tickets? No, but she's partnered up with other writers. She writes most of her songs. I think she's a great artist. And although I will say this, I don't know if Julia listens to Taylor Swift's music. She cusses a lot on this album.
Does
It's
she?
interesting.
That's a new thing.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Do that.
I mean, I think she might have dropped a cuss word here and there, but there's one song. I don't know if it's Anti-Hero or another one. I think she just starts off cussing. And I'm like, geez, Taylor, calm it down. But she's a woman. And who am I to judge? I love cussing. So there you go. Speaking of events, do you know what happens at the end of today or today? Oakland's COVID mask mandates for large indoor events expires. So it had required anyone attending an event with 2,500 or more people to wear a face mask. I've been seeing that. When I went, I was telling you guys, my daughter had her first cheerleading performance at Oak Ridge Mall. The way they had us, like clustered in, I was getting claustrophobic. I was absolutely, and I'm like, Jesus, Lord help me. And it was just not an environment that I would want to find myself in. But people are just walking around without their masks on. They do still need to provide proof of vaccination if you go to a senior center or an assisted living center. But any of these other facilities with 2,500 or more people, so like a concert venue or something like that, won't have to. It does, though. This is another caveat. It remains in effect for city facilities, including libraries, civic buildings, rec centers, again, senior centers, adult care facilities, which makes sense. But then does it? I mean, Kim, do little carve outs matter when people go into other places right after? I mean, it doesn't seem like it's doing what it's supposed to be doing. If not everybody is wearing it and then they don't have to wear it here and they do have to wear it there.
No.
I don't think it's actually serving the purpose that it was meant to.
No.
It doesn't make any sense to me at all.
I was in some pretty tight places yesterday for Halloween, and I thought, oh, I
you wear
kind
your
of wish I
mask?
had a mask. No, not
Yeah,
outside. I
not
thought it was
outside,
an
yeah.
outdoor event, right?
Yeah,
But some
that's
people
true.
had the things set up where you had to walk through, plastic sheeting, like they set up a haunted house. So you have to go through, the area to get to the
Right.
candy at the other end. And I had wished for a mask.
Oh, yeah. I've been picking up prescriptions at the hospital. It seems like I've been living in the pharmacy lately, and every time I go there, there's always that one person, right, that doesn't want to wear a mask, even though a hospital is like the number one place I would want a mask, even way after this, right? I mean, it seems so obvious. And there was this guy the last time I was there, and he's like talking because they had the plexiglass, which again still doesn't make sense to me. But and they're like, you need to wear a mask, you need to wear a mask. And he was kind of pushing back on it. And I wish that part was over with. Like, just slap the stupid thing on your face. You're not gonna die in the 30 seconds that you have to wear it. But do you know people that have lied about whether or not they've had COVID or not?
Not that I know of. I mean, maybe someone, but I can't imagine why.
Well, I mean, because they want to go and they want to visit places. So I was talking to my friend who lives in Idaho, not quite sure that matters. And, they're talking about, contracting COVID at places and then finding out after the event, like the kid had COVID or one of the hosts had COVID, but they weren't feeling that bad. And, what are the rules now in 2022 surrounding that? I mean,
So selfish.
I wouldn't want someone to come to my house if I had the flu. I wouldn't want someone to come to my house if I had strep throat. Or at least I would tell them so they can make their own decisions.
I did know a woman who had planned her son's birthday party. Then the family got COVID and they still had the party.
No.
But she told everyone ahead of time, we have COVID. So thinking like, okay, if you've already had COVID or if you don't care if you get COVID, you can come to the party anyway. Or
Uh,
I think it was still
no.
irresponsible, but whatever.
Did you go to the party?
No.
Okay, good. Something else that's a holdover from COVID, of course, are the parklets, right? You can eat
Yeah.
outside. There's a number of restaurants where I'm so used to the parklet. If they took it away, I would be so disappointed. This is amazing. I love it out here. Well, Palo Alto is their outdoor restaurant scene, according to the Mercury News, could look dramatically different. City leaders voted to require letters of consent from neighboring businesses before restaurant parklets and outdoor seating continue on public streets. So it was a close vote, 4-3. It voted to require the restaurant owners doing business to address concerns by some retailers that the pandemic era parking and seating has meant less street visibility for their nearby businesses. Um, I understand that. I guess if people don't know that you're there and then you have a bunch of people sitting at tables and chairs. But on the other hand, I feel like that might actually draw eyeballs to your location. Like, oh, there's a bunch of people sitting there. Oh, I wonder what kind of restaurant that is or what have you. One councilman was quoted as saying, "This is a squeamish issue. When you have your own property, you can do what you want on your own property as long as it's within zoning code. Now we're talking about implied rights of use on public property." This councilman, Eric Filseth, said while the city council members argued over the right approach to parklets, he described the letter of consent rule as the lesser of two evils, because obviously, it allows people to still have, the parklets that some people have really enjoyed. I mean, I'm sure if it's raining right now, you're not choosing to eat outside. I liked the parklet. I hope they don't go away. I hope they don't go away at all. Oh, I have a number of you guys commenting in the live chat regarding lying about COVID.
I like the parklets too, by the way. We have the Petaluma River here in town, and it used to be parking spots along the
Yeah.
river. But during COVID, they took the parking spots away and they turned it into outdoor dining right along the river. It is beautiful. And then there's this little footbridge that crosses the river, and they hung lights on it in support of Ukraine. And so it's blue and yellow. And at night it shines on the water, and it kind of casts this glow, and it's beautiful. So there's a part of our city that we never used before. We just treated it like a parking lot that's now become this gathering space. And I love it.
Yeah, I just love being able to sit out there and interact, with people. I find it actually makes people, at least my experience, more friendly. It just seems nicer. Somebody had posted that, that Europe's, it took COVID for the US to discover outdoor seating in Europe. It's always been around and it's so nice. That's from Do Better Man. I agree. I mean, obviously we've had some outdoor seating. It's not like we haven't had any. I did want to add Eric's comment when we were talking about lying about COVID. Eric Kennedy writes, "My roommate has had coworkers show up to work after testing positive, which led everyone in my place, including my son, needing to take tests."
Oh no.
That sucks. That sucks. I mean, and then Karen Cooper asks, "I wonder if you can sue when someone lies about it, exposes you to COVID, and you catch it. The proving that person is the direct reason why you got COVID would be, I think, a little bit hard to prove in court for a lawsuit, I would think. But I just think it's manners, right? I mean, you don't have to look at COVID like the deadly virus that it was, when we didn't have any therapeutics or vaccines. But at the same time, it's rude. You don't go to work. You don't go to people's homes when you're sick. I don't
No, not
understand why we need
anymore.
to say that out loud, but you
Not
just don't do
the
something
old,
like that.
right?
Yeah, exactly.
Hmm.
Okay, we're going to have news in just a moment. But, when we talk about the problems that people face in life, there's big problems and there's small problems. And then there's tax problems, which could be both. And joining us, of course, is our founding sponsor, Steve Moskowitz. And Steve, I'm sure people call you with all sizes of tax problems.
Oh, yes. And you know what? Tax problems turn into life problems, and it's basically a confessional. Because let's face it, money is very important. That's why most people are good people, but they have a tax problem. Come and see us. And, it affects how you live, how your kids live, your spouse. And I mean, there's all kinds of things that happen For example, with community property, you can have this situation. Wife is married to bad husband one. And bad husband one, among his other failures, doesn't pay his taxes.
Mm.
Wife divorces husband one, marries good husband two, great guy. But because of California community property, wife filed a joint return with bad husband one. You know, the IRS can collect from good husband two from
Oh,
what?
no.
Oh, no. So these, yeah, it's just endless. It's endless what happens. So one of the things I pride myself in, even though I was a CPA before tax attorney, I'm not some guy that's just, what are the numbers, what are the numbers, what are the numbers? I'm dealing with people's lives. And it's just like with ERC, getting that if you qualify up to $26,000 for every employee, that can make the difference between staying in business, paying your bills, turning around and prospering, or hanging your head, walk out the door crying, and have no idea how you're going to pay the bills, a ruined life. I understand that, and 1,000 years ago when I started in practice and I was a professor, when I teach the new lawyers, I'd say, look, these are not old dusty books that you're reading a case from England. These are people's lives. The law lives and feels and cries and laughs and bleeds. It's people. And I never, ever forget that when I'm dealing with somebody's life.
You're a lifesaver. You could be a marriage saver in some cases, Steve. So give Steve a call. He can change your life by getting rid of your tax problem. It's simple. Give him a call. AAA Tax Deal. Find him online at moskowitzllp.com. You're a hero to many people, Steve. Thanks so much for coming on.
Thanks, Nikki.
All right. Yeah. Again, AAA Tax Deal or moskowitzllp.com. Let's get to a couple more comments from the live chat. Again, the super chat is open if you want to help support the show in that way. Also hit the thumbs up button just once each and every show. Eric Hedney wrote back again, all that long COVID going around, it can hit people who didn't even get very sick and have very long lasting impacts. I know some people that I believe they have long COVID. I've asked them. It's a hard thing, I think, for some people to admit that maybe they do. As far as the parklets, the Mark 51627 wrote, the streets and sidewalk belong to all of us. If the restaurant wants to pay an equal fee the parking lots would generate, let them. I think that's, it's a good point. Yvonne, parklets are great in Palo Alto and Mountain View. Then I may shop nearby. I love that point, Yvonne. Whatever can bring business in works. You see it oftentimes with like food trucks. So, a food truck by itself here or a food truck a couple blocks away, they may get some business. You get a couple food trucks together and now you got a party, right? And then people like to come by and it's like, oh, I'm going to go visit this one. You can go visit that one. Might actually go visit both because I could check out both menus. I know when we worked at Station X at lunch, when I used to work that shift, I was almost a daily thing. I'd be visiting the food trucks that would be parked right next to the building. They had great food, but it brings, the eyeballs and everything. And maybe parklets could do the exact same thing as well. So we'll see what happens. Obviously in Palo Alto, it's happening, where they're going to have to get the permission and the letter and things like that. But it could spread to other cities. Absolutely. Okay, coming up, I'm going to talk about what I would call a very different type of trafficking allegation. It's not drug trafficking. It's not sex trafficking. It has to do with bread. I'll explain that. I have a little bit of celebrity trash, but first we need to take a look at some headlines.
Now, from around the world to up your street, the Nikki Medoro Show presents News Czar Kim McAllister.
This report sponsored by tax attorney Steve Moskowitz at 888 Tax Deal. Russia ramping up missile attacks against Ukraine's critical infrastructure. Speaking to reporters today, State Department spokesperson Ned Price said Russia launched nearly 100 missile strikes on Ukraine's water and energy supplies, that in just the last 36 hours. Large parts of Kyiv are without power and water now. The Supreme Court is ruling that Senator Lindsey Graham is allowed to testify in a Georgia prosecutor's investigation into alleged interference during the 2020 presidential election. Atlanta area district attorney Fannie Willis is investigating phone calls Graham made to Georgia election officials when former President Trump was contesting the result of the election. The South Carolina senator can now be subpoenaed since the Supreme Court did not block it. Survivors of sexual assault can now access a new portal to track their evidence. The state of California hiring its first ever sexual assault evidence outreach coordinator. Attorney General Rob Bonta says Dr. Sarah Crane will take on that role. She'll work directly with law enforcement, medical facilities, and other partner organizations to support local efforts to track and process sexual assault evidence. Attorney General Bonta saying these new initiatives aim to clear the backlog of sexual assault evidence at the local level, speed up the process, and increase access for survivors. Students at Santa Cruz High School are headed back to class today after another shooting hoax. They had to shelter in place yesterday, less than a week after a lockdown. Police were notified by school staff of a threat made on social media on Saturday. They arrested a suspect this time, less than 2 hours later, and gave the all clear. That teenage boy reportedly doesn't go to the school, but lives in Santa Cruz County. Police say it's not related to the first threat. Gas prices seem to be inching down a little bit around the country. AAA reporting the national average currently sits at, you guys ready to laugh? $3.75. It's about 5 cents less than this time last month. Yeah, exactly. And
I wish it was ours.
I know. Me too. Our emerald is to be auctioned off at Sotheby's in New York City. I know you want this, Nikki. In the late 1980s, the green gem was found among treasures on a ship that had sunk off the coast of Florida 400 years ago. The 6.25 carat emerald was turned into a ring that will be auctioned on December 7th. Proceeds of the sale will go towards supporting humanitarian efforts in Ukraine. So that's good, at least, right?
It sounds like the gem from the Titanic. Remember what?
Doesn't it?
The heart of the ocean, or whatever the hell they called it.
Yeah.
Sounds fancy.
I don't know how much that's gonna. A 6.5 carat emerald. I don't even know how much that's.
I mean,
$1 million at least. I don't know.
The price of a San Francisco home. That's
exact. You could have a home, or you could have an emerald ring. It's your choice. This report sponsored by tax attorney Steve Moskowitz. For more than 30 years, Steve has put his tax knowledge to work for individuals and businesses alike. So if you need help with your taxes, give him a call. 888-TAX-DEAL or MoskowitzLLP.com on the internet. I'm Kim McAllister on The Nikki Medoro Show.
Sweet. Thank you, Kim McAllister. So again, hit the thumbs up. Go to thenikkimedoroshow.com to support our Patreon. The thumbs up supports our show. The Patreon supports us financially because we need to be able to make money doing this. It's the only way it can continue. And, you know, the emails that we're getting and how many of you just love the fact that I was able to and Mark was able to kind of launch the show so quickly after Station X, got rid of everything and switched formats.
Well,
it's great,
we got an emerald ring to buy, right?
And the Powerball, you said that no one hit the Powerball. So
nobody hit it. It's now at $1.2 billion.
Wouldn't it be funny if somebody like that worked at Station X actually bought the station, was just like, you know what? Screw you guys. I'll buy it myself.
I'm going to buy my station.
Exactly. All right. Enough with the music. Okay. So I'm going to get to this trafficking story in just a moment. But here's a story out of your neck of the woods, Kim. We were talking about the parklets and restaurants and, what gets eyeballs and cars and business and what doesn't. A decades-old cattleman's could be demolished in Petaluma. This is the one on 5002.
What are you talking about? They're taking my cattleman's? No, they're not.
Yeah. They said it's going to be demolished for are you ready?
I don't want to hear it. No.
Miranda Smith told SF Gate Cattleman's is aware that Chick-fil-A has submitted plans and hopes it can continue to serve Petaluma as it has for the past 52 years.
So this Cattleman's is huge. I mean, it's got big dining rooms, a huge bar. I thought Chick-fil-A was a fast food restaurant.
It is.
Can't they just put up a Chick-fil-A in the parking lot?
I think you're underestimating the drive-through line.
Well, we have a ban on new drive-throughs. So you can't put up a drive-through in Petaluma now. Unless you buy a restaurant that already has a drive-through set up, you can't put a new drive-through in Petaluma. It's like carbon emissions type of stuff. They don't want it anymore.
That's so interesting. Okay, so preliminary plans submitted show that the current 9,040 square foot Cattleman's restaurant would be completely torn down to construct a 5,000 square foot Chick-fil-A. It says it would have a drive-through, but you're saying that it can't. That's interesting. This comes after a cattleman says it would close its 53-year-old restaurant in Santa Rosa by the end of the year. Do you eat at Cattleman's? I mean, is this a place that you go to?
We go there when my husband's mother comes from Michigan because she really likes it, and sometimes a family member did as a birthday restaurant, so we'll go
Okay.
there for a birthday. It's a steak place, steak and
Yeah.
potatoes, but you go there and you can pick your meat, and then it's one of these things where they bring the salad, and it's like you pass the salad around the table, like a salad bar that goes around the table. So it's like a community salad pot, and you get to
Okay.
pick what you want on it. And then a pot of beans for the whole table. And then, so it's a
Interesting.
fun, interesting restaurant, and it's kind of part of the character. Now it's been here so long, and I know that they're closing that one in Santa Rosa, but I thought our Petaluma one was safe, so that's kind of a bummer.
Yeah, I mean, they're saying unless it's like, the final submission or approval, they're not planning on moving. They say until the sale of the property is finalized, Cattleman's plans to stay open. But yeah, that could be the end of an era, at least in Petaluma for Cattleman's.
And of all things, a Chick-fil-A.
A Chick-fil-A, I know.
We're not going. We're not going to go to your Chick-fil-A if you build it here. So don't bother.
I love it, Natalie. What? I'd rather have steak than homophobic chicken.
Yeah,
Pretty
that's
much.
right.
That's exactly right. I mean, I don't eat Chick-fil-A, so if you love it, okay. I'm judging you in my mind, but eat whatever the hell you want to. But yeah, their politics and what they support. No, I don't eat chicken nuggets that bad. That's for sure. Ooh, Sunset Starters, bone-in steak. So these are the steaks you can choose.
Yeah, they have all the steaks, the classic steaks.
See? I know a bunch of you are gonna get on me because I shouldn't be eating meat that much, but I haven't had a steak in a while. I really haven't. I had gumbo the other night, so I had some andouille sausage and some hot links in that, but I haven't had a steak in quite a while. Now I'm hungry.
Yeah,
Thanks, Kim.
I'll be sad to see it go. Really.
Well, let's see. Karen writes, I don't like what Chick-fil-A stands for. Exactly. I don't either. Okay, so there is a trafficking case that's made the news. And it's out of the Bay Area. And no, it has nothing to do with drugs or sex or children or anything like that, or, migrants. It has to do with bread trays. Okay, so there's this Fresno company called Athens Baking Company, delivers fresh baked goods throughout California. It also sells, frozen goods in stores across the country. So it's filed a suit. It's alleging that South San Francisco's Pacific Coast, and Pacific Coast, very well-known company, they deliver to a couple hundred customers in the Bay Area, has been deliberately snatching Athens plastic delivery trays. And Athens claims it has photographic evidence to prove it. So what's going on, apparently, is that Athens trays are being taken from the loading dock. So Pacific Coast owner Bill Esposito has said that they don't know what's going on. He's asked his drivers, where are you getting all these bread trays? And he says that the delivery drivers see customers throwing away Athens trays. He says they throw them away because the company's drivers don't pick them up. So we put them back in the system.
What is it? They're trays?
So bread trays. So my dad used to work in the bread company. He delivered bread my entire childhood. We never were without bread as a kid. Okay. And so on trucks, you have these long trays. If you've ever seen them deliver at your grocery store, you have this whole kind of dolly system and all the bread's on there so it doesn't get smashed and trays. Okay. Apparently, Athens drivers are not picking them up. And so when they deliver to their customers, the customers don't know what to do with all these friggin' trays. So they're throwing them away. And so Pacific Coast is like, well, all right, if you're not going to use them,
we'll take our trays.
We're going to take them. But they have the other company's name on them. So Athens alleged that Pacific Coast has been stealing the trays for its own use to cut costs and to boost expenses for Athens and gain a competitive advantage. Athens is seeking more than an apology. This is the best part. This is the part why I wanted to talk about it. The company's lawsuit demands significant dough, claiming $45,000 in damages. The Fresno bread maker also reportedly wants a court order preventing Pacific Coast from trafficking in the bread trays that have been stolen. This highlights a different thing, and it's kind of what Steve Moskowitz talks about, and the after effect of COVID, supply chain issues, businesses hurting. When you find something like this and you're looking at your budget and your line items and you're saying, why the hell am I missing so much of this? And then you hear the story of a competitor, and now they're both different. I mean, Athens delivers throughout California and the US, Pacific Coast, a couple hundred customers in the Bay Area. Not exactly the same, but doing the same business in the same kind of market. You're going to point to them and be like, stop it. You're the reason why I might not be doing as good a business. Now, the article that I'm reading doesn't say anything about, have they lost a lot of money or anything like that. They're just saying you're trying to undermine my business by stealing my trays.
Well, they weren't coming back for the trays anyway.
Thank you. And so that's what they said. Apparently, Pacific Coast called and was like, come get your trays.
Dumb,
yes. Right. Yeah. I think that this is just a nonsense lawsuit. Just figure out and tell your drivers to pick up their damn trays. I don't know what you were thinking was happening with those trays, because that's not letting the customers deal with it is obviously not going to work. Chris Ogburn says milk crates have some similar warning about recycling them. Is that what you're talking about bringing them back? Possibly, because milk comes in those kind of square kind of things. You have to return them to the place that you get them. Laura, yes, you are absolutely right. Buy local, family, farm raised meat. I prefer grass fed. That's where I go. I know people that have the storage and the freezer space to kind of buy like half a cow or however the hell you call it. Karen saying you have to look at veggie burgers, not as a substitute for meat, but for what they are. People don't examine their actions. Because No Jacket was talking about the cows. Cows don't want to die. You're right. If most Americans could see or know how our red meat is processed, they'd change their mind about it. That's true. I told you guys I was watching this show, American Housewife. I know it's an old show and it's over apparently, but I just caught on to it. And they have a pig, and they were going to have fresh pork, right, to eat. But when they went to go get it, they went to a farm, like one of the family-friendly ones or the family-raised ones, and they were selling the live pig. So now they have a pig as a pet because they realize they don't want to eat the pig. They don't want to kill the pig. And so would people not eat meat as much if they knew? Probably. What does this say? What do they say? You have to make sure it says 100% grass-fed, not just grass-fed. Oh, about the meat that I eat? That's a good point. It's like if they just throw like one little blade of grass at them, is that grass-fed? I would hope not. Vilma writes in, I believe the owner of Chick-fil-A is a Trump supporter, knowing this dulls the senses. Yes. And they've made, they've contributed to anti-LGBT causes. It's awful. John writes in, is it okay to eat a cow that dies of old age? Because I really love beef. All right, guys, here's the question. What do you think? If it just kills over and dies on its own, can I eat it then? But I do think that it's also the cow business, right? The meat business, the beef business, the farts, right? That contribute to global warming, what they're fed and what the food goes to, the grain. I mean, there's a huge environmental footprint cows make just so that we can eat steak. So yes, if one killed over and died, we wouldn't be killing the animal. And so that would be like, okay, it died on its own. On the other hand, there's still the whole environmental societal cost to eating meat. It's a lot. And I have tried to cut back, but am I a vegetarian? Not even close. Okay, we have about 15 more minutes. Okay, so Halloween was yesterday. What are you doing with all your leftover candy, Kim McAllister?
Oh God, I don't know.
Okay, so there's a number of things you can do. We all know about donating it to the military. I think most people know that. There's a number of places. Treats for Troops is one of those places. Operation Gratitude is another place. Operation Shoebox sends a bag of candy inside every care package to deployed troops. You could also, I never thought of this organization, although it does great work, the Ronald McDonald House Charities. They accept the candy and donate it to their, you have to check with their local chapter, but they collect it. You could also use the candy in different ways. You could add it to your popcorn. I have so much candy. I mean, my kids come home with pounds and pounds of candy. I don't think there's enough popcorn I can eat for this to be a suitable one. You could freeze it. Candy can be
Some dentists
in the freezer for up to a year.
Some dentists they have a buyback.
Oh,
So
yeah.
you come and they weigh it by the pound, and then they give you some money for it.
Yeah. Chocolate bars can generally last in the freezer for 10 months, as well as other hard candies. Peanut butter cups, caramels, jelly beans, candy corn, which is trash anyway, can last for about 6 to 9 months. You got to seal it in a, like a Ziploc bag. Don't just throw it in there all willy-nilly. And here's one that we would do in the past, Kim, but I guess we won't be doing it this time. You can bring it into work. That was always one. Just having the
Oh yeah, that's a great way to get
the
rid
candy
of it.
bowl. Oh yeah, because some
Mhm.
people just bring in candy that they don't like that I love, because I love the gummy stuck in your teeth kind of candy. So I would always
Yeah.
be eating those.
John
And
Rothman used to bring in a giant box of candy every New Year's. I mean,
New Year's.
box of candy.
Oh,
Yeah, do
interesting.
it on New Year's for some reason. I don't know.
It's like he was done. That's from Halloween until New Year's. He's like, I'll eat the
Mm.
candy, and then after that, I give it up. Well, Halloween is past, so you know what that means. It's Thanksgiving and Christmas time. The Mercury News came out with an article today on a countdown list for your Thanksgiving dinner. Too soon? Too soon. I think it's a little too soon. Apparently, you need to start preparing for Thanksgiving 3 weeks before the actual day. You need to get your guest list together. That's what you could do 3 weeks before, and plan your menu. My menu doesn't really change. Usually, I'm at my parents' house for Thanksgiving or my in-laws, and we usually make the exact same type of food.
Yeah.
How many of you guys like to be adventurous on Thanksgiving? Because one of my good friends, he made me, I mean, I was almost peeing my pants laughing. He went to, I think it was like a family member of a family member's, and they totally messed up the stuffing. And he was so upset. Like, it included like raisins or something that you don't often see necessarily in every single stuffing. And he was so
No.
angry about it. And he's like, why do people have to try new recipes on holidays? You try that on your own time. On like Thanksgiving, just keep it what it is all of the time. Don't try something out on your guests on Thanksgiving. But
Yeah.
you can plan different things. So my mom can't drink alcohol anymore. So maybe come up with some sort of fun drink. So it's not just like lemonade or water or something like that. There's one that's listed by the Mercury News, a pomegranate punch. But this has alcohol in it. This is dry Prosecco and pomegranate seeds and pomegranate juice. So that's pretty good. Vegetarians out there, we were just talking about meat, an acorn squash lasagna.
Oh, okay.
Sounds
I
better than a
remember
cooked
one
turkey. Ugh.
one Thanksgiving we went to my dad and stepmom's house, and she is I would say she's not approaching that level. She's just a really, really good cook.
Okay.
And she decided that she was going to make like miniature pheasants, or there's some type of miniature
Squab.
bird, something like this.
Right.
And so we arrive, and there's these little tiny like birds
Birds on your
stretched
plate.
out on the plate, and I'm like, I
don't know what to do with this thing.
I don't know what
Everyone
to
has
do
their
with
own
this.
mini turkey.
I don't know. It's like it's not turkey. It was like a little, I don't know,
It's
mini
probably
chicken.
squab.
Or,
It was all like a
I don't
Cornish
know.
game hen or something.
That's
like
what
that.
it was. Cornish game hens.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
exactly right. And we're my husband and my dad and me. We're looking at each other like I don't know. I don't know what to do. Yeah, it didn't go over well.
Everyone's just like, do I eat the leg with my hands? Like, how do you eat something like this? And then, when you're talking about like Cornish game hens, and if they're made properly, the meat should be tender and fall off the bone and blah, blah, blah. But it could be, if it's cooked too hard or tough, you're like fighting with the bones and everything like that. Yeah, I like to keep things traditional. Dave agrees. Keep it traditional on the holidays. You could throw something in, but not as the main course. No, don't try, you know what you can get adventurous with? Salads, right? Or a dessert. I tried this new dessert because, you don't need to have dessert. You should definitely have pumpkin pie and
If you're
the
gonna
traditional,
have,
but
yeah, at least adventurous with, you're gonna say, serve it alongside pumpkin pie. Like give people the option. Yeah.
yeah, no. But I don't want raisins in my stuffing.
Mm-mm.
I don't want a weird gravy. Don't add cinnamon to anything that's supposed to be savory. I could taste cinnamon like I could taste tequila in a margarita. I just don't like it. I just don't like it. Sweet, something like that, that works. But savory, I just don't like cinnamon. And I've had experiences where it hasn't been that good. One last it's not Halloween, but someone did kind of dress up for a while. Did you hear about this guy at Stanford? He pretended to be
It's
a
a pumpkin pie.
no,
I'm
he
getting ready.
pretended to be a Stanford student and lived on campus for almost a year. His name is William
What?
Curry. Yeah, William Curry graduated from Vestavia Hills High School in Vestavia Hills, Alabama, back in 2021. He falsely claimed he was recruited to the university's track team. He later introduced himself as a transfer student from Duke. He was accused of breaking into dorm rooms on campus for several months and harassing multiple students. At one point, he told officers, he was homeless and trying to escape the rain. Several students and resident advisors told the Daily they assumed he was a student because he often hung out with other students. He also allegedly created a Tinder account describing himself as a 20-year-old student at Stanford who was studying pre-medicine. And it shows him in screenshots of wearing Stanford attire. I would be scared if I was sending my kid to, let's say, Stanford University.
Yep.
And somebody was just living on campus like that. Because it's easy. I mean, all you have to do is walk on campus. I mean, Stanford says that there is things and there's a way that they figure out who can be on campus and who can't be on campus. But for instance, I went to San Jose State University. I could walk on that campus any time of day. I mean, there's nothing stopping me from walking on campus. Put a backpack on, and college can be for any age. You don't know who you're rubbing shoulders with. And then you're going to say you're a Stanford grad? People need something else to do. We do want you to...
I was just going to say, regarding that story, I was just looking at this this article that says Stanford knew about this imposter. Guy just kept coming back.
Yeah, he kept coming back. Like officers, he was like, "Oh, I'm homeless. I have to get out of the rain." He kept getting cited, but he kept doing it. Like you would think there would be posters of his face, right? I mean, do you think there should be a poster around campus? Like if you see this dude, he does not go
even
here.
The Stanford Daily. I'm looking for his photo. Oh, no. Well, yeah, there he is. Okay.
Is that it? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, William. I wonder what the backstory is. Like, did he try to get into Stanford and didn't? And he's like feeding the lie to his parents back home. Like, oh, I'm going to Stanford. I want to live. He wants to live in California, but he has to have a good excuse to live in California. I mean, he lives in Alabama, so who knows?
About me, your parents would love me.
Oh,
I don't know.
No, you're a liar, pants on fire. And what a school to go to, right? It's not like you're choosing, a state school or community college. Nope.
Yeah.
You're going to Stanford. Well, now everybody knows, William. The jig is up. You can't do it anymore. All right, I have a couple minutes. Let's do a little bit celebrity trash.
It's time to take out that damn trash. Celebrity news and trash.
Oh, I love trash.
With Nikki Medoro.
It's the trash. It's the sweet, sweet trash.
All right, we don't like saying her name too much, but Kim Kardashian made quite the flub. And this happens with people that have birthdays in October. You have a birthday near Halloween, and so people make a big assumption that it's a costume party. Well, Kim Kardashian showed up to Tracy Ellis Ross's 50th birthday. 50th birthday, big old bash. And she was dressed up in her Halloween costume. She went as Mystique from the X-Men series. Here, let me see if I could bring up this photo for you. It has to be quite awkward. I think that's one of the nightmares that some people have is that you'll show up someplace and all of a sudden everyone's wearing one thing and you're wearing another. So there's on the right, Tracy Ellis Ross, and there on the left, that's Kim Kardashian.
But it wasn't a costume party? What was she thinking?
It was not a costume party. Now, I don't know. Maybe she was going to another costume party after. So she just stopped by to say hi. But yeah, always double check. And she wrote, that time I showed up to a birthday party in full costume when it wasn't a costume party. Happy birthday, Tracy Ellis Ross. So she appears to be a pretty good sport about the whole entire thing. Speaking of celebrities, ever since Elon Musk officially bought Twitter, So many celebrities have been saying they're leaving the platform. So let's go down. Shonda Rhimes. You'll know her from How to Get Away with Murder and all those. Bridgerton. She actually is behind Bridgerton. We were talking about that earlier.
Oh, yeah.
She tweeted out that she was going to be leaving the platform. Said, not hanging around for whatever Elon has planned. Bye. Sarah Bareilles, you know, the singer. She tweeted out, well, it's been fun, Twitter. I'm out. See you on the other platforms, peeps. Sorry, this one's just not for me. Tony Braxton.
Oh, goodbye, Tony Braxton, huh?
She said, I'm shocked and appalled at some of the quote unquote free speech I've seen on the platform since its acquisition. Hate speech under the veil of free speech is unacceptable. Therefore, I am choosing to stay off Twitter as it is no longer a safe place for myself, my sons, and other people of color. And she posted that on October 28th. Now, I'll say this. Sarah Bareilles has not tweeted since she said she was leaving. Shonda Rhimes, let me double check because I want to be right. She has not tweeted since she posted that. Neither is Tony Braxton. But here's my question. Why is your profile still available? If you're leaving and you want to announce your departure like you're at the airport, then leave. But really leave. I feel like this is a little disingenuous. I feel like this is like, look at me, look at me. I'm going to be hopping on the bandwagon about the whole entire thing. Yeah. And they're not actually leaving. Now, Elon Musk has been talking to none other than Stephen King, author, of course, of all the scary books and movies, about the blue check verification. Apparently, Stephen King is like, no, dude, they should pay me. That's what he wrote. He wrote, if that gets instituted, I'm gone like Enron. And so Musk said, okay, how about $8? Not 20, but $8. I don't think $1 people should pay to be on Twitter. Not $1. Not $1 at all. They won't play it. I don't know. Maybe he's trying to kill off the whole entire thing.
I think people get kind of addicted to and relying on social media platforms for whatever reason. And they say that they'll get offended and leave, and then they come back. You see it all the time on Facebook. Yeah. This is my last day on Facebook, pouring of goodbyes and we'll miss you and whatever. And then, a month later, they're back doing the same thing. It's like they couldn't stay away.
It's like also that they don't want to lose all their followers. So just in case things are okay or the headline about the whole thing changes, I'll still have all my followers and I don't have to start all over again. And finally, there was a message to Elon Musk trending. And this one guy, David Levitt, says, a year ago, Elon Musk said he'd give $6 billion to solve world hunger. He spent $44 billion on Twitter instead. And I just don't get it. All right, that is some celebrity trash. As we wrap up this show, we do need to say thank you. Andreas, I think this is the second super chat donation you have made in this show. $50. Andreas, thank you so much. I thought I forgot your birthday. Surprise. Happy birthday. You are so sweet. Again, the live chat feature is up and running. You could donate every show if you want to. Andreas and others have done it throughout the day. Thank you very, very much. And of course, you could donate to our Patreon. The Super Chat is live. That's where you do it. The Patreon can be found at theNikkiMedoroShow.com. You go there and you can get links to the YouTube channel to share with your family and your friends. And of course, our Patreon link is right there. And before we go, hit that thumbs up button real quickly. It really helps us tell YouTube to share this show with everybody else in the YouTubes and support our sponsor. Of course, Steve Moskowitz, our founding sponsor at 888 Tax Deal or MoskowitzLLP.com. Kim McAllister, love you. We will talk again tomorrow. And now here is Jacob to say goodbye.
Nikki, you're all so awesome. You're proud, like a beautiful blossom. You're also the best. I really can't rest. You're all so awesome.
Wow. Okay.